I adjusted the strap of my simple black dress, Chanel, though no one here would guess, and balanced a tray of champagne flutes as I wove through the glittering chaos of my mother's annual charity gala. Around me swirled a blur of designer gowns, clinking glasses, and the scent of expensive perfume. The same event, 1 year ago, where they'd toasted Victoria's promotion to senior VP at Goldman Sachs. Olivia, darling, my mother's voice floated over the music, laced with that practiced tone of gentle disappointment. The Ashworth's glasses are empty, do try to stay on top of things. I smiled tightly, resisting the urge to point out that the Ashworth's investments were currently under the stewardship of one of my subsidiary firms. Instead, I nodded and moved through the crowd with smooth, rehearsed elegance. Still playing waitress? Victoria materialized beside me, radiant in a scarlet designer gown. Though I suppose it suits you, wasn't London more or less the same? Service work, or something like that? If by service work she meant leading Morgan International, one of Europe's most formidable private equity firms, then sure, but they didn't know that, just like they didn't know about the private jet idling at the airport, or that I owned the building they were standing in. Something like that, I murmured, gliding past her with the tray. Oh, and Olivia, she added, her voice sugar-sweet, once you're done playing bartender, Mother said the kitchen staff could use another pair of hands. The actual caterers are a bit overwhelmed. Important work, no doubt, especially considering I was funding the entire affair through 3 different shell corporations. From the champagne to the Swarovski-drenched centerpieces, every detail had been financed by me, though the donation receipts credited anonymous benefactors to Mother's charity. Olivia. Dad's booming voice cut through the chatter, don't stand around, we need more ice for the Hendersons' drinks. Ah, the Hendersons, I almost smiled, remembering how just last week their company had begged my firm for a lifeline, a proposal I personally rejected, and now, I was fetching their ice. My phone buzzed discreetly in my pocket, a message from Marcus Mayo. Tokyo deal closed, $50 million profit, board wants to discuss expansion. I typed back, in a meeting, we'll call soon. Let them think I was stuck in some dull boardroom. It was easier than explaining that I was here, serving drinks, because my family still believed I was their disappointing daughter. Who on earth is texting you now? Victoria again, swirling her champagne like a trophy. Your manager at that little import-export gig? Ah yes, the humble cover story, poor Olivia, barely scraping by at a minor trading firm. If only they knew it was just one spoke in the vast wheel of my global financial empire. Just work, I replied vaguely. Speaking of work, Mom said, gliding over with her diamonds catching the chandelier's light, Victoria just landed another major deal, 10 million in bonuses this quarter alone, isn't that something? I nodded politely. I'd earned more than that before finishing my morning espresso. We're all so proud, Dad added, rejoining us with the Hendersons. Victoria really shows what a Harrison can do when they apply themselves. The Henderson smiled, though Mr. Henderson's hand trembled slightly as he lifted his glass, likely still shaken from my firm's rejection. Unlike some, Victoria said pointedly, eyeing my tray, who never seemed to find their footing. Mom sighed, a touch theatrical. We tried so hard with Olivia, the best schools, top internships, and remember how she refused that junior analyst role at Goldman? Victoria laughed. Said she wanted to pursue other opportunities, and now, this, serving drinks at parties, but I suppose someone has to. I glanced at my phone again, another message, this time from my London office. Urgent, Royal Family's investment team requesting meeting tomorrow, jet is ready. See, Mom said, gesturing at my phone. Always distracted, no wonder she can't keep a proper job. Actually, I began, but Victoria cut in. Oh, let her be, Mother, probably scrambling to pick up another shift, rent doesn't pay itself. Dad shook his head. At least be useful tonight, Olivia, the kitchen needs help cleaning up. Something inside me broke. 3 years. 3 years of this charade. 3 years of letting them think I'd failed, while I quietly built one of the most powerful investment firms in the world. I should go, I said quietly, I have a meeting. Victoria burst out laughing, loud enough to turn heads. A meeting? At this hour? What is it, a pub staff orientation? Olivia, Mom's voice snapped to attention. You'll stay and help clean, that's final. It's the least you can do, after everything we spent on this evening. All that expense? The premium champagne, the imported orchids, the gold-accented tableware? Yes, every penny routed through shell companies, each one traceable, ultimately, to me. The hired help doesn't leave until the job's done, Victoria said brightly, projecting her voice toward the curious guests. Isn't that right, sister dear? I looked around at the sea of smug, self-assured faces, people so certain of who I was. The Hendersons, nervously sipping champagne, unaware their last-minute bailout had been rejected by the woman topping off their drinks. The Ashworths, chatting obliviously about market volatility, while I managed every penny of their portfolio. And my sister, preening like royalty over deals that wouldn't even cover my company's operating costs before noon. My phone buzzed again, a message from James, my head of security. Car is waiting downstairs, weather is clear, jet ready for London. I glanced at the tray in my hands, then at the people who'd spent the evening making me invisible. Maybe it was time they finally saw me. I set the tray down. Actually, I do have a rather important meeting to get to. Dad's voice rose, sharp with disbelief. More important than your mother's gala? More important than your family? Victoria snorted. Let me guess, some night shift needs help mopping up spilled beer? I smoothed the fabric of my dress, the subtle glint of my Patek Philippe catching the light, worth more than Victoria's entire quarterly bonus. Something like that. Absolutely not, Mom snapped, stepping forward. You'll stay and help, it's all you're good for anyway. The music dimmed, conversations trailed off, guests leaned in, champagne glasses paused midair. Perfect. I smiled and reached for my phone. Let me just make a quick call. They all watched, no one breathing, ready for what they assumed would be another embarrassing moment for the family disappointment. James, I said clearly into the phone, come up, and bring the Henderson merger contracts with you. Mr. Henderson nearly dropped his glass. The what? Before anyone could process it, the ballroom's grand doors opened. James entered in a bespoke suit, followed by my executive team. Each one had been waiting downstairs for this moment, calm, professional, precise. Madam, James said with a polite nod, the jet is prepped. The royal family's investment team has rescheduled for breakfast at Buckingham Palace. They're eager to finalize the merger. Silence. Victoria's smirk faltered, then vanished completely. Thank you, James. I turned to Mr. Henderson. I apologize for the theatrics. I prefer evaluating potential partners personally, before revealing my role. A beat. Unfortunately, as CEO of Morgan International, I have to be honest, your current business model is unsustainable. We'll be withdrawing our interest. Morgan International? My mother whispered, as though saying the name might somehow summon an explanation. Yes, I said calmly, the largest private equity firm in Europe. Technically, we're global now. That little import business you've all been mocking? One of our smaller subsidiaries. Dad's complexion turned a shade paler than the table linens. That's not possible. You couldn't have built a multi-billion-dollar firm? Made the FT 500 as its youngest female CEO? I raised an eyebrow. Done it all while serving drinks at your charity galas and helping in your kitchens? Victoria clutched the back of a chair, blinking hard. But, I'm the successful one. I'm senior VP at Goldman. Yes, about that. I nodded toward one of my executives, who stepped forward, handing Victoria a folder. Goldman's board approved our acquisition of your division this morning, effective next week. You'll be reporting to my Asia-Pacific director, assuming we choose to retain you. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Victoria opened the folder with trembling hands, scanning the contents, her face drained of color. And now, I said, turning toward the doors, if you'll excuse me, I have a jet to catch. Then I walked out, leaving behind the crystal, the couture, and their stunned silence. The whispers had begun, subtle at first, then rippling through the ballroom, as realization dawned on the elegantly dressed crowd. The woman serving their champagne wasn't the help. This gala? I gestured to the glittering room. Entirely funded by me, channeled through several shell companies. This building? I purchased it last year. The champagne you've been drinking? Bottled from my vineyard in Provence. Mom sank into a chair, her immaculate poise finally fracturing. Why didn't you tell us? She asked, voice trembling. I gave a soft, humorless laugh. Would you have believed me? You couldn't even trust me with a junior analyst role. So I let you believe the story you preferred, right up until the moment you'd need the truth. Need you? Dad's voice cracked. The Henderson merger is just the beginning. Did you think your company's miraculous turnaround last year was luck? Those anonymous investors who saved you from bankruptcy? That was me. Victoria's complexion turned a delicate shade of envy. The London meetings you used to mock? Those were with me. A new voice cut through the air, refined, unmistakably British. Terribly sorry I'm late, Olivia. Traffic from Heathrow was abysmal. All heads turned. Lord Sheffield stepped into the room, a name even the most sheltered socialites recognized. You know him? Mom asked, her instincts already scrambling to catch up. We're quite close, Lord Sheffield said with a grin. Your daughter manages a significant portion of the royal family's portfolio. A brilliant strategist, though I never imagined I'd find her serving champagne. That was my choice, I said evenly. I wanted to see just how long my own family would overlook me, even while benefiting from everything I built. James stepped forward, calm and composed. Madam, the car is ready. We'll need to depart shortly for the London meeting. I nodded. I'd love to stay and help clean up, but I have breakfast at Buckingham Palace tomorrow. I'm sure you understand. Olivia, wait, Mom said, rising unsteadily. We can talk, as a family. I paused. Family doesn't treat their daughter like a failure. Family doesn't mock her career, then unknowingly cash her checks. But don't worry, my office will send over the itemized bills for every gala, donation, and catered dinner I've funded. Victoria stepped forward, her earlier condescension replaced by panic. Sister, surely we can. Can what? I cut in. Pretend your title at Goldman means more than it does? Keep playing this game where I'm the underachiever? I turned toward her, smile cool and sharp. Enjoy your new role in our Asia-Pacific division. I hear junior analysts are expected to work long hours. Behind me, Dad finally found his voice. You can't just walk out on your family. I met his gaze. Watch me. James moved to open the ballroom doors. Oh, and Victoria? I glanced over my shoulder. Those clients you keep bragging about? They're all owned by my holding companies. Might want to start polishing that resume. Gasps followed me as I strode from the room. The sea of designer dresses and tailored tuxedos parted without a word. Lord Sheffield matched my pace, eyes gleaming with private amusement. Quite the performance, he murmured. I'd say it was worth the flight. Thanks for playing along, I replied. The Buckingham Palace meeting gave it just the right touch. He chuckled. Oh, that meeting is quite real. Her Majesty was very impressed with your last quarterly report. I laughed as we stepped into the private elevator. Just before the doors closed, I caught one final glimpse of the ballroom. Mom, slumped in her seat. Dad, blank and stunned. Victoria, tapping furiously at her phone, likely trying to save what was left of her career. James, I said as we descended. Make sure the cleaning crew gets a generous bonus. A pause, then I smiled. After all, someone has to serve the drinks. Later that night, high above the Atlantic, I scrolled through the flood of messages lighting up my phone. Mom, please, we didn't know. Let's talk. Victoria, about that analyst role, maybe we can revisit? Dad, the board would like a meeting. I deleted them all. Then turned back to the contracts spread across my desk. While they mocked me, I was building an empire, the very empire they leaned on, unknowingly, for years. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't proving people wrong. It's letting them realize just how wrong they were.